Hello, Women of Power and Spirit. I'm excited to be with you today and talk about something that's really near and dear to my heart. In fact, it's in my book, The Root of All Healing, 7 Steps to Healing Anything. And we're talking about the power of questions in your journey of healing. And one of the reasons that this is so near and dear to my heart is that questions take us into feminine consciousness, into the realm of potential and possibility if we're framing our questions properly. And I talk about that specifically, just in case you've got a copy of the book, in chapter 5, Discover How the Truth Really Does Set You Free. So this is a way to get to a deeper level of truth in chapter 5. So here's what happens when many of us are healing, or even if we're struggling with something in life. I'm going to talk about healing specifically, but keep in mind, this applies to any challenge that we're facing in our life and the way that we're approaching that challenge with our questions. So what I often hear, and I used to do when I was in the middle of really deep healing, and when I'm working with clients, I hear things like these questions. What's wrong with me? Why can't I heal? Why is God punishing me? Now, questions like this usually are coming out of our despair, and they tend to close the energy. Did you feel everything drop down when I asked those questions? Yeah, they're negative, and they're presuming a negative outcome. Why can't I heal? Presumes that I can't. I may be asking it because I was stuck, but the question itself isn't going to help me open the space. You can hear that, right? Why can't I heal is going to get my brain focused on all the evidence that shows me why I cannot heal, and it is going to cause me to spiral deeper and deeper into my pain or depression. Why has God punished me? Presumes that's what is happening, that there is an almighty being who is punishing you for something, which may or may not be the truth. It may be more of a reflection of a human experience where you did feel punished, and now that punishment is continuing to play out in your life. What was the, yeah. What's wrong with me? Presumes something is wrong with me, right? So those are 3 examples of questions that presume a negative outcome, and they're not going to help you. In fact, if anything, they'll spiral you deeper into the problem. All right, let's talk about a different kind of question. Consider when you want to ask a question, asking one that opens up your energy. These kinds of questions actually lift up your spirit when you ask them, and they create a space in which consciousness can actually respond. Here are a few examples of more open questions that open up the energy. What would I need to know, be, or do to experience more healing? Do you hear how consciousness can get in there and help you out a little bit? Yeah, with what you need to know or what you need to be, what you need to do. It might show up in a dream. It might come through a book. Something that you hear in a podcast might be something a friend suggests, right? It creates an opening for you to actually receive an answer that is going to take you a step further in your healing. Here's another one. How could I actually enjoy my healing? Ooh, that one really opens doors, because so often we're thinking about what's wrong and we're focused on the pain. But when you ask a question like, how could I actually enjoy my healing? You start thinking about activities that you could do. You start thinking about relationships that could be more pleasurable. You start thinking about new thoughts that could be more pleasing, new behaviors that could expand your physical sense of well-being. You open up to your spiritual gifts that you could be using that are really sweet and can feel very, very good to the body when we step into those spiritual gifts. So, or mentally or emotionally, right? How could I actually enjoy my healing? Wow, imagine that. If I didn't spiral down so deeply into the depression, if I asked a different question and said, How could I enjoy my healing? That takes me to a different place emotionally, doesn't it? Here's another one. What insight would help me create lasting vitality? That changes your healing experience, doesn't it? It opens up the space for consciousness to say, oh, we need to fill this. And this isn't in the book, but it can make it a little interesting. Ask your guides or your ancestors specifically. Ask them, grandmother, what could I do to be more comfortable in my healing process? And I love to add, what could I know, be, or do? Because it covers the masculine energy of action, the feminine energy of beingness, and knowingness, which sometimes can encapsulate both. I know this now, and I know the place from which I need to make my choices in my thoughts, in my words, and in my actions. So any of these are examples of open-ended, open energy questions that you could be using to make your journey a little bit easier. I hope it helps. Write some comments down below. Let me know if there's something in here that really rings for you, like this one. I'm going to remember this question. This idea is really helpful to me, so I know how to continue supporting you. Thanks, everybody. See you next time.